Alrighty then, round 3, almost instantly after round 2. And we get to go first. And, gosh, this deck really wants a 1-drop, but I mean, I know this is like a bit land heavy, but at least we actually have some cards to play with on 3. I'm going to keep it, but it's, I think, like this hand would be so much better if like this was a 1-drop, or this was a 1-drop. Because obviously if their opponent makes a 2/2 here, then that's not, it's not horrendous. I mean, I guess it trades with our Mud Brawler cohort, and I'm not gonna not play cohort. Assuming this is Goblins, you know, I think like Renegade Freighter will be fine, but they probably want random Goblins lying around anyway. Alright, so they obviously knew we didn't have any other red creatures. But I mean, they can kill this anytime, but I think this is going to be okay for us. So next turn we get to make our train. Like I don't want to play Inner Flame Acolyte and attack, because then you can just double block something with War Marshal and get full value. So if I instead play Train, they have the choice of paying upkeep. If they pay it, then okay, they've like basically skipped their turn. If they don't play it, pay the upkeep, then that's fine. You know, they have one fewer 1/1 goblin I need to bash through. That's an interesting time to destroy the cohort, but reasonable. So ideally, this turn, I guess, we want to draw like a Jackal familiar to crew the train and also be able to cast this and attack for a bunch. I think I might even just cast this. Yeah, I mean, like I have quite a lot of things going on, but if I cast this, I get to crew the freighter and attack. Whereas like if I cast this, then I'm, you know, sort of passing up some damage. So I mean, it is nice to have a heel cutter in play. It's possible that they have a lightning bolt in their hand, as is always the case. But if it's assuming the heel cutter is in play and doesn't die, then you know that's quite a lot of mana saved. And if they had a bolt for it, then it was going to die at a later date anyway. It looks like a bolt for the freighter though. I mean, they always have the bolt. Why would they ever not have the bolt? And if they then have another bolt for heel cutter, then that'll be quite bad for us. Having played quite a lot of goblins in the past, I'm pretty certain Mob War Marshal is the best card in their deck against us. Just because it can trade with a 2/2, whereas like nearly every other card in their deck is a 1/1 and requires additional, you know, slider sacrifices to do anything. Not everyone plays a bunch of Chain Lightnings either, like because you obviously need to play a lot of creatures. But they're, you know, they could run out soon-ish. We've both drawn quite a few lands. It doesn't really benefit anyone. They have another removal spell? A Lightning Strike? I guess they're just incredibly burn heavy and just want some random creatures to back up their burn. So maybe they're not really a normal Goblins deck at all. Yeah, looks like hard casting Fire Blast could be on the agenda this game. Like, I could be bolting this Fire Slinger, but I wanted to wait to see if there was like a slider in the near future. Well, Goblin Cohort, even if it doesn't get to attack anymore after this turn, is a pretty good blocker against all the 1/1s. If my opponent wants to trade Bushwhacker, trade their Fire Slinger for my Bushwhacker, I will obviously be delighted about that. If they don't, I think I might have to just bolt this Fire Slinger before it deals too much damage. You know, I have a bunch of 2/2s to block their things, and Fire Slinger bypasses the blocking. And honestly, at this point, it's basically just down to who top decks creatures. This Fire Blast, kind of a brick. Until I can get the opponent to 4. So that's not ideal. If we just both draw creatures though, I think I should be ahead in this exchange. That's kind of interesting, actually. It's actually pretty bad against Arsonist, but it's really good against everything else. So I think I might just hold back here and trade Cohort for Arsonist. And then once the coast is clear, I can play the Legionnaire. Assuming, of course, that my opponent attacks with this, which they should want to, since the other creatures can't get past the Cohort, not very effectively anyway. Of course, they could just, you know, have another Lightning Bolt or something, Mog Fanatic. Okay. That also deals with Porcelain Legionnaire, but at least it takes the card off the board. Rift Bolt, alright. They are indeed extremely burn heavy, and just playing Goblins to act as burn spells. Let's see. It could be the case that next turn that I need to Fire Blast Mog Fanatic, which doesn't sound good. And just in order to play Porcelain Legionnaire. Of course, this opponent has way more like 1 damage effects main deck than most, which making this Legionnaire kind of sketchy. Alright, so given that I sort of need to ride this Porcelain Legionnaire to victory, and by victory I mean I need it to stay alive, I'm just going to go ahead and take out this Fanatic. Taking 1 and losing lands in protest. This is the worst Fire Blast I've ever seen. And we're obviously kind of, I think we're very unfavored now that, you know, they drew some relevant cards. We drew an extra land, and like the Fire Blast was already dead in our hand. So Legionnaire should be able to block pretty well. If they just attack with both, then obviously we're now dead to many cards that they might have in their deck. I mean, several we already know about. And so I think we just have to start attacking them to try and mise them here. If we hope that they just draw nothing for a few turns, we can maybe get them to 4 in time. But we already can't beat any burn spell, so whether we're on 3, 2, or 1 life doesn't matter too much. This Mog War Marshal, though, as mentioned, the best card in their deck against us, pretty much unbeatable at this point. Alright, let's pack up. We drew too many lands and Fire Blasts, which are blanks in the matchup. We get to bring in Lifestaff and Electricaries, since they have just nothing but 1/1 Goblins. I guess Porcelain Legionnaire, while Porcelain Legionnaire is very good if it's in play, it's not very good against all their ping effects. So I think we just have to bring it out. We could bring in our own smashes, because they probably have some life staffs of their own. But I don't think that's a winning plan. I mean, I guess it could be, but we don't know for sure that they have life staff. Like, most of our cards are fine as is. So what cards are bad here? I guess our Bushwhackers aren't very good. They are like much better at using Bushwhacker than we are in this matchup, I think. But you know, we still need some creatures. So yeah, okay, we'll just go with this. Heel Cutter's not that good either, but it helps bash past things like Mogg War Marshal. So this could actually be like the one matchup in the format where we want to go second, since I don't think it's very likely that we can kill them. Like, they actually have like tons of blockers. But I don't know. Well, there you go. There's definitely probably wanted to go second now. Okay. So yeah, I think this is a pretty bad hand. Because it comes into a nutrition match where neither of us can draw cards. Like, I'm drawing like bunches of 2/2s, which are good against all their 1/1s, but they can still outcard us over time. Obviously, this is the wrong order for my Jackal Familiar and cohorts, but I guess that's alright. I obviously could have just played this, but it doesn't seem like a particularly good value use of Bushwhacker. If this is a Mogg War Marshal, that's kind of annoying. We're going to have to hold on for Electrickery. Okay, well, so yeah, this is why you want to go second. I mean, I did think about it, but it's entirely possible. Like, when they don't have a Mogg War Marshal, being on the play is actually pretty good, since like all of their cards need to block 2 for 1 against all your creatures. But when you mulligan, it's a disaster, and when they have War Marshal, it's also a disaster. Stagger Shock? Really? Well, alright. It's an unconventional choice, you could say. And attacking is even more unconventional, I think. Oh, wait, nope, never mind. So here we know that Stagger Shock's about to come down and murder the familiar, so we might as well get stuck in for some damage while we can. And then after the Stagger Shock clears us out, we need to rebuild. We should have time, they're not especially fast, but we're like down 2 cards after mulliganing and being on the play, and they have Stagger Shock in their deck. So we're suddenly getting beasted all of a sudden. We draw Electrickery. I think we're in good shape. Extra good shape. Incredibly good shape. But you know, you don't have ponders or anything in our deck, so we're just living by the top of our deck, hoping to get there. They almost certainly have a lightning bolt, I guess. So I'm not going to play Heel Cutter here. Another line that we could have taken the previous turn would be to, rather than dash in Heel Cutter, play Freighter, so when they rebound or Stagger Shock on the familiar, we could crew the train to try to block. But I felt like we're probably going to win this game if we draw Electrickery rather than block, because I don't think it's going to work. I think they've got a lightning bolt, since they've been keeping up this mountain as often as possible. That's something. I'd say I don't think being defensive is gonna work especially well. I think we might be able to mines them with train damage, but here's the lightning bolt as predicted. So now we're just electricity or bust, really. I mean, our opponent's deck's kind of unconventional. It's just these Mog War Marshals doing us in, and obviously if they don't have sliders, then they're obviously super weak to electricity, which is the whole reason that the whole reason to play normal goblins is to play sliders. But it's certainly browning us this game. Is this like lightning bolt fire blast or something? Electricity? No. Okay. Alright then.